Hello, BookTube, and we're here with Sunday Live. And I do apologize, and Brandy apologizes. She's not able to join us now. It was a last minute thing. She fell ill. And so Jenny has jumped in again. I must have something, I must really have something bad on her in order to twist her arm to come
Good
on this.
practice.
So thank you thank you, Jack, for
Yeah,
Jack,
it
yeah.
is.
Uh, Jack Will. Is that supposed to be
Yeah.
somebody?
I got it as a Christmas present, but it's a huge mug, so it holds a lot of coffee.
Well, thank you for jumping in at the last minute, because
Hmm.
otherwise I would have been here by myself and talking to myself as usual. So yeah, and we'll just continue to do the same thing of reading. Did you get much reading done this past week?
Nothing completed. I started a few things though. So I'm a good way through Weird Sisters, and I have most of the way, I think, through the first Tarzan book.
Oh, okay. Is that your first read of it?
Yeah, I'd never read any of the Tarzan. All I know is from the Disney film.
What do you think of it so far? Like the
So far, it's quite good. At the moment, he's just what was it? He's just killed what they call as the Black Lion. So I'm pretty. I think I'm quite far through that book. But it's quite fun. It's like how fast he learns things. I'm like, oh god, I wish I could learn that fast.
well, he learned how to read and write basically without
All on
any,
his own.
yeah, with little blocks. And that's the one thing they always bugged me in the films, or most of the films, that he's, oh, me Tarzan, you Jane, and then he can't know. Meanwhile, he knows how to speak French, German, English, and everything.
Yeah, where I am, he's learning Arabic.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I love the whole series is great, but as a whole, but there's some ups and downs. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Throughout
I got the
20,
collection. It's got like 25 stories. I don't know if that's all of them. It says it's all of them, but
yeah, I think it's 25. Yeah, there's 25. Yeah, some of them are short story collections, but yeah,
hmm.
it goes on quite a romp, that's for sure, and brings in some other spin-off series that he did as well. Anyway, sorry, we could talk all day about Tarzan. I love Tarzan. Aaron's here. Hi, Aaron. So okay, the Weird Sister, because you did your first short, and
Mhm.
you showed that you were reading that, and so Tarzan. Anything else?
What else was there? I still keep putting off reading Amber Spyglass.
Why does that sound familiar?
It's his Dark Materials. It's part three. It's the last one.
Oh, okay, that's why then. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean the death at the came at the end of the last book. Oh, that hurt.
yeah. I've not read.
Uh,
I know. I sort of have looked at the.
I still haven't picked up a few of the others either. What was it, Meg 4? I meant to read that one by now.
How many Megs are there?
I have five of them, but according to Audible, there's seven. So there's like two that are Audible only, or at least I can't get a book version of them, only an Audible version. And I still haven't caught up with Dresden either. But I'm
Aaron.
off on Tuesday, so I might do some catch up on Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know where my dress. I should try. Well, June's getting kind of full. Aaron saying, yeah, the 1980s Tarzan with Christopher Lambert playing gets the character closer. Yeah, that to me is my favorite. Greystoke, the Legend of Tarzan. That is the best one for it. For some reason though, they didn't like what I can't remember her name that's playing Jane. They dubbed her voice, which was kind of odd. But Ralph Richardson was fabulous in that. Fabulous.
Did you watch the newest one with Alexander Skarsgård?
No, I don't know about that. I don't think that one.
It's set afterwards, so this is when he's already living in England and has been for a while because he's already married to Jane, and then they end up having to go back because they shifted the timeline because it's when the Belgians were in charge of the Congo,
Yeah.
so he's got to go off and deal with them. That wasn't actually too bad. I quite enjoyed that one.
Well, it's an interesting way to do it. So yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that one. A
Mhm.
lot of them I've seen and I don't want to see. Uh, what is it? There's one with, isn't there one with Bo Derek as well as Jane? I think.
Probably.
But I do like the '30s ones. I like the Jerry Weissmuller ones and Buster Crab ones, and especially the Jerry Weissmuller ones with Margaret Livingston. Um, she when she's wearing a loincloth, all she's wearing is a piece in the front and a piece in the back, and it's just tied on the sides. So it wouldn't have been very um, clear watching it on the screen, but in DVD or Blu-ray now you could pause and and she flashes herself many times. Uh, Aaron says I've seen the newer film, enjoyed it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
Uh,
plays the. I think he's. I don't can't remember if he's a general, but he's the one that's in charge, and he's up against Tarzan. But he plays a great bad guy no matter what he's in.
well, I like the idea of them shifting it because when they don't seem to get him correctly if they do it the way it is in the first book. They
Mm.
definitely don't, So, anything else that you're saying to Dresden? I got to get back
I
to
need to
some.
get back to Dresden, yeah, because it's been getting quite fun, and I've already heard some spoilers about what's coming, so I'm like, oh, I need to get to you faster.
Yeah, I've got, what is it? Is there 5 books in my box set or 10? Like, how many are there? There's like 20, isn't there? Or close to it.
I think there's 17 or 18 at the moment, but he is still writing them because the newest one only came out last year.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not 100. I think I know where it is. I think it's still in a bag down here, ready to go upstairs. And then I got to get back to Paddington as well. So it's either going to, there's 3 things now I think that sort of will take my mind off things if I'm doing things, is reading Simac, reading PG Woodhouse, and reading Paddington. Those are the 3 things that will calm me down.
I've never read Paddington. I used to watch it as a kid. It was Beatrix Potter I read as a lot as a kid.
Yeah, it was part, like I was doing this second childhood thing of like read, because I never really read kids books when I was a kid. So
Mhm.
somebody mentioned it and I go, well, I haven't read it. And I loved the first book. I just absolutely loved it. It was great. And yeah, so I definitely want to read more. Um, so I guess I can maybe talk about a few things I finished, because the week before I didn't really read much at all. I wasn't up to it, but I finished reading the first book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. It's called The Shadow of the Torturer. So I'm halfway through. There's 2 books in here.
Yeah, I got all excited. I'm pretty sure I finally found them on Kindle. It looks like they finally, like re-released them
Oh, okay.
because before you couldn't get them, or you could get like one, but not all of them. I'm like,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't like an incomplete series,
Yeah.
and I'm
There, there's
sure.
there's there's a 5th one, I think, but I don't know how related it is to it. But there is a 5th book. And I've enjoyed this. I have read the first 2 before, but I've
Mhm.
sort of forgotten them, and it's weird. I'm reading through and I go, "Oh, I know what's going to happen next," but I don't know what's going to happen after that. And then I get to a certain part and I go, "Oh yeah, I know what's going to happen now." And I kept doing that throughout it. Every so often I'd recognize it, and I enjoy it. I don't know. I'll have to see how it goes. I don't know if it's something that it's going to become a favorite. I know it's a huge favorite for a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, this, and they reread it, and I can see why, potentially, because the character is apparently an unreliable narrator, even though he says he remembers everything. So right there, when he says that, that there's or going to be potentially problems, and then that's where I think you stuff that he's saying isn't probably really what happened, and then you see what the um consequences of that will be later. Or at least I'm assuming. like I say, I don't remember the first two. So it will be interesting to continue. And I do notice that there's a few similarities with Hyperion, because in the second or third and fourth book there is a character that does remember, but he does everything. Um, he knows what happened. He knows what people are thinking, and that's made clearly how he does know that after a fashion.
Hmm.
So it's not an unreliable narrator there. Uh, so anything else you wanted to, or do you want me to just continue?
I keep going. I haven't read much, so there's not much I can talk about.
Well, for my Patreon group, we did a nonfiction book called, beautiful looking, Orphans of Empire, the fate of London's foundlings. And it goes through the history of the hospital, the Foundling Hospital, its creation and how it was created, and all the children that they took in, babies they took in. And it's pretty horrific in many ways. It's like, there was a time where they took so many in that 90% were fatalities. 90% of them died, just within a few months after them taking them in.
Mhm.
And it's quite a history. I knew some of it, but I didn't know all of it. The thing that bugged me, well, there's many things that bugged me, but the one thing that bugged me was there was a real foundling. He became a sailor, and he wrote an autobiography. But they gave them new names all the time. So, but and because there was King George, they called him George King. But every time I tried to read this, in my mind, I'm saying King George, which bugged me. Um, it's published by Oxford University Press in 2019. I think. Let me check. Yeah, 2019. It's well footnoted or endnoted, but I think it's partially because of the vast amount of archive material that there is. It's a bit sloppy the way she put it together. Like, a lot of repetition of sort of every time she comes to someone, she repeats the beginning of the same story for them. It's
Mhm.
almost like dumbing it down, and then also saying throughout, oh, but that's different from our 21st century sensibilities and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, well, we know that. You could say what happened there. The reader knows that it's not that way. We think
Yeah.
differently now. And then, at the end, you can then maybe, tie it into how things have changed or not changed. So yeah, and there was so many, um, like I say, there was some details, but yeah, it just didn't hold together. And I think it's partially because there's so much material that I forget what she said. It's like she said it's like, she used this as an example of how much space on shelves it was. She said it was like 7 double-decker buses, of archive material. And that's just bloody insane.
Mhm.
But it was an interesting read. But yeah, it's left lacking for me. Aaron has yours. Well, first of all, Aaron, nearly
I just
done with the
noticed. I
James.
just noticed Jess's comment.
He's nearly done with the James Bond books. I should finish You Only Live Twice tomorrow, and that leaves The Man with the Golden Gun and Octopussy and The Living Daylights. So
Are you going to
yeah,
tier rank them, Aaron?
yeah,
That
that would be kind
that
of
would
neat.
be interesting.
And yeah,
Most entertaining to least, or best written to least, whichever orders.
yeah, I just. I'm not going to say much about the last one I read, because we will be doing a live on this. Not you, Jenny, because you haven't
Mm.
read it. I don't know why you're not reading this writer. It's like, he's the best writer there ever was. But Way Station by Clifford Simak. I started it late last night, and then
I'm beginning to think you like him almost as much as Hyperion.
I do to a certain extent. But you see, they're two different things. They're two different things. Like
I think
there's
that
so
was
many.
my favorite video was when you did that sci-fi one, and the answer to every single one was Hyperion, Hyperion.
Yeah, I was going through it and I go, how am I going to do this? And I go, oh, I could say Hyperion for that. Hyperion for that. Hyperion for that. So I went and did it. Yeah. Mega whopping cosmic. The way station is amazing. It is. It is. And we're going to talk about the, well, when I say on the 9th, hopefully, if everything goes well, it'll be with Scott Danielson again, uh, Brandy, and Aaron, and possibly somebody else. I'll have to see. There could be four or five of us in total, and
Mm.
this is definitely worth talking about. And I hadn't read it since about 2016 or 18, I think. So, but again, like because reading it on the back of City, I saw so many parallels to City, which will be interesting to talk about. And this is a nice edition. It's a centennial edition of his birth by Old Earth Books. They did Way Station and City, and I just realized in this was it's the reason why it's people said it's difficult to find and expensive. There was only 2,000 copies printed, but it
Which
doesn't
means some
say
are probably in
limited.
landfills by now.
Hopefully not.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to wait until we talk about Way Station next June, and I'll say it because I'm on. I do have it here somewhere. I think I'm on the topic of CIMAC. Uh, Come on. No, I don't have it to hand. It's a choice of gods anyway. Is for June. And it's a short
Okay.
one. So if anybody
Is
wants to
that
know,
non-fiction as well?
by Simak, no, it's fiction.
Oh, okay. So does he only do fiction?
He did 4 books that were sort of science books. He did one sort of prehistoric man. He did an astronomy book. He did a few things like that, and a collection of things. And they're obvious. They were done in the '60s, so and they're not academic in any way. They were sort of juvenile or
Mhm.
aimed at a juvenile audience because part of his when he was a journalist, he had this column that he ran or coordinated that was for education and for students on science. So he did this, and then there was a collection of those articles that were published that he edited as well.
Get them all hooked on science.
Yeah, well, yeah, he did quite well with it, and he was well known in the area for that. Aaron's saying he's going to do a list, but I'm not sure whether I'll do it as a video or on one of the James Bond live streams he's planning. Um, Way Station is great. I really enjoyed it, and definitely it plays to Simac strengths. Yeah, definitely does. It definitely does. Um, and there are 2 books that I definitely like have reread many times by him, many times. And okay, that's done for me reading so far. Or yeah, I'll be starting something else tonight. But what do you have planned? Are you just going to continue on with like the Weird Sister? Is it Weird Sisters? Yeah.
Weird Sisters, yeah. I think I'm about halfway through. Wait a minute. Just got to a nice big witch fight, which was fun because, from what I remembered before, the witches didn't really use their powers much. I'm 45% in, and I'm still shocked at how far I had to get in before I realized, oh, they're supposed to be the witches from Macbeth. This is like his
That's what
Macbeth.
I was wondering. Yeah. Okay.
I was like, I can't believe it took me that long to figure that out.
Well, when I saw it, I was going to ask you because that's what I sort of thought that they were, but I didn't know. I have no idea.
Oh, the witches are fun though. Granny Weatherwax is just, oh, I love her.
That's a wax.
That's her name. She's the most powerful. She seems to know everything as well. It was Heidi had mentioned in the Ken in the Shorts one about the when she's talking to the forest. And I'm like, I got to that scene. That was quite fun.
So is it just them separate, or are they, or is Macbeth happening in the background too, or this
It's
is a
kind of
different?
in the background. It's basically like as if the Macbeth was told from the point of view from the witches, and basically
Oh,
everything they're doing.
okay, that's kind of interesting. Who wrote this?
Terry Pratchett.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Mm.
I didn't even look at the author. Okay, I'm kind of interested in that now because
He does that with most of his Discworld books, where he takes like certain things and he basically just flips them on their head.
is this a Discworld novel then?
Hmm.
Oh, okay,
But it's a
okay.
lot of fun, this one. I love the fact that you don't even need to read them in order. Because the first one I ever read was Guards, because everybody said that's the best place to start. Because if you don't like his humor in that one, you're not going to like it in most of them. But then I went back to the start and started reading them chronologically. So I get to reread Guards.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I've read anything by him. Like I said, I've listened to some radio programs of him. Like he did the one about the, what is it, the Satan's Apprentice or the Devil's Apprentice. I can't remember what it was. There was something that they did.
My favorite one he's done so far. Again, I mean, as much as I enjoyed Discworld, it's Good Omens is definitely my favorite. He wrote that one with Neil Gaiman, so they
I,
would sort of like write it back and forth. So it's got a lot of kind of like Neil Gaiman's quite good with the story stuff, but Terry Pratchett's most definitely better at the humor. So it's so funny because it's them, it's an angel obviously and a demon best friends, and they're great.
I
And it got
like the
even better with the
first.
TV show.
Yeah, I like the first series of that. Second one,
Oh, the book's better because it's got like there's a whole bunch of characters they took out for the series, and I'm like, oh, they would have been so great to watch because there was the fake horsemen who thought they could be the horsemen on their little motorcycles when they actually meet the other four horsemen. Oh my god, the whole sequences with them together was just so fun.
mm.
They even gave themselves like weird names as well.
Yeah, I got it. I do have to, like I say, I'm not sure if it was me and you that were talking before about Neil Gaiman, and I do have to read something. And the only thing I have at the moment is American Gods.
Mhm.
But then I just, and I was remembering at the time of that there's a couple versions of it out there. There's like an unabridged version, and then I saw a listing for um Folio Society version, and
Mhm.
it's the version that he sort of has off, not his authorized version, but the one that he thinks is the best version of it.
Yeah, and
So I
that's the
don't know.
newest one. He put some scenes back in that I think the editor wanted out. But of course, he's Neil Gaiman. He can do whatever he wants now.
But yeah, so that's the Folio one. I don't know about the one I have. I'll have to look at it. It's up there, and there's a couple things I want to read. Perdido Street Station as well. That's
That's
another one.
Mayville, isn't it?
Yeah, China
Yeah, I think
Mayville.
I've got that one somewhere.
Yeah,
I think I've
that's
got that on my Kindle somewhere.
I and
Somebody
I
read it and said it was like a fever dream. It's so weird. I went, oh, it sounds brilliant.
Well, like I'm waiting for, and like I say it because I'll come back to Hyperion. Is I call it my Hyperion High. It was the last like new science fiction thing that I read that I sort of thought that science fiction is dead after this. Like people say, the rock and roll dies. It's like I haven't read anything since then that has given me that kind of thrill and
Mm.
feel. So yeah, and Aaron saying Terry Pratchett is really funny. Sean, you'd like Ank More Park or More Pork or Park?
More pork, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the name of
Uh,
the main city that you spend a lot of time in.
uh,
Carrot's by far one of my favorite characters of the entire series.
okay, I've not heard of that one. How many bloody books did he write then?
42. Discworld, 42.
42 Discworld,
Yeah.
but
But
not
there's like
everything.
there's a half dozen of them are like completely standalone, and then there's like mini series amongst them. So you can literally pick them up because they're not all connected to one another.
Oh,
I mean
but
the
they're all
character
Discworld. But they're all
so
Discworld.
yeah, they're all Discworld.
Every
And for
book
the
that he
most part,
wrote.
they're all pretty much standalones, but you'll get like the City Watch, I think, consists of about 6 books spread throughout the entire 42. but you don't have to read them all.
Okay, I didn't know it was that way. I didn't know it was they were all disc. Everything he wrote was Discworld.
Yeah, it's like all 42 are almost like an anthology. So it's like this one snippet of this story.
Well, I'm gonna have at some point. Like I don't know. There's so many things that are coming up this year that I've piling on with stuff. But this coming week, Nobby Knobs.
Oh no, carrot all the way. 6'2" dwarf because he
Oh,
was adopted.
what isn't there a hobby a hobby horse in some British fiction called Nobby or something? What's the Nobby?
There's Noddy.
No, I mean Noddy. Maybe that's what I'm
Ah,
thinking.
he's like a little elfie type thing in his little car.
Oh, okay, that's
But
what I'm.
Nobby's quite funny.
But yeah, what the next thing I'm going to read, I think, is because I've been putting it off, is this one here, nonfiction, The Wide, Wide Sea, The Final Fatal Adventure of Captain James Cook. And
When he got eaten. Sorry, spoilers.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like, ooh, Cook has been reassessed and his monuments have become controversial. This is how an obelisk at the site of his death looked when the author visited uh, Calacoya Bay in January 2022. Somebody had defaced it.
Yeah, they tend to do that to a lot of monuments nowadays.
There's a monument here and there's a museum that's just not too far away as well. So I think that's where he. I'm not. Did he actually grow up here, around here, or was it? I don't know what the connection is with Whitby. Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
I just read a book about him as well. I'm pretty sure he's. I don't know if he's actually from Whitby, but I think that might be where he first developed his love of the sea. You know, because obviously I think that's where his family moved to. Because I'm pretty sure they were like from further inland and had to move for work. And as
Yeah,
a kid, he sort of like loved the boats.
yeah. Well, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm sure, unless it's badly written, but by all accounts, it's not. So that'll be what I'll be reading this week. Um, and do you have anything else you're going to start, or just continue on with the ones that you're partway through?
Well, I've got the ones I'm partway through, and I really need to finish the Harry Potter series as well. I'm still on book. I need to start book. What one are you? That's not even the right one. Jesus, I've picked up the wrong one. Book 5, Order of the Phoenix. Or is that 4? No, that's 4.
Maybe I'll wait till you're all done so we don't have to talk about it.
I'm not a huge fan of the Harry Potters, but once I've started, I've got to finish off the series because it just annoys me.
Yeah, and well, I'm gonna mention that even though, well, because by next week is June. Like I can't believe we're in bloody June, or we'll be in June.
I know, half the year gone already.
Yeah. But Aaron's here that we are doing Dune in June. Frank Herbert's. We're doing a book a week. So, and then on the end of I'll do a separate, well, we'll both do a separate video of this to say the reading schedule. It'll be the book one for the first week, and then we'll do a live on the Saturday. Oh, that'll be 7th or the 8th. 8th, I think it'll be.
8th, I think. Yeah, because it's the first is the Saturday.
Yeah. So the 8th will be Saturday, and we'll talk about the first section. And yeah, and this will be, you've read it, Jenny, and Aaron, I think it's his first time. And anybody else who's joining, I suggest, like, I know Steve Donahue is jumping in on this as well, and he's done a video of a primer for it. I suggest to somebody who hasn't read this is don't watch the primer, because I think one of the joys of reading Dune for the first time is discovering all the background that you pick out of the story. And that to me is one of the joys, and other people that I've talked to, that is a joy of doing it. And then if it becomes a favorite book of yours, you'll want to reread it, and then you just delve deeper into it for that. So, but yeah, but you haven't continued on, have you?
Not
Jen.
yet, no.
So
I've
yeah,
still got the other 5 there though, because I
yeah,
bought all 6 of them.
yeah, because I don't. I'm gonna have to stop at this one this month, but I will probably continue on eventually because Children is very short.
Mm.
No, wait a minute. No, Dune Messiah is short, and then Children's not so big either.
Yeah, I
Um,
think the first Dune is the biggest one, if I remember correctly.
Chapter House is pretty chunky too. The last one, and maybe even Heritage, but yeah, that could be the biggest one.
The joys of reading on a Kindle, they're all the same size.
Yeah, but the one thing is like, what was it? I think it was Mark that was Mark at Book Time with Elvis was saying to me how like when he's reading, I think Les Miserables, you don't get, at least when you're reading a book, you go through and you get a sense and you feel like you're making progress, but you have no idea other than a percentage maybe, and that's it.
No, it's when it does things like it predicts how long it's gonna be till the end of the book. It's even worse when it predicts the end of the chapter because it obviously monitors how you read, so it starts to anticipate how long it would take you to finish it. And then it'll say like 15 minutes to the end of the chapter, and you're just like, "Want a bit? I can beat that." Especially if you've only got like 15 minutes of your lunch break left, and you're like, I can make that."
Yeah, I still haven't been able to do the Kindle much or anything like that. Um, I understand if I enjoy Dune, I'll be up to for read-alongs of the other Dune books later on in the year. Yeah, no, that would be great to do that because I definitely want to read on, and but like I say, I'm doing so many things like doing the Simac one in June and June on the Range as well. But it's not going to be like I had planned it. I'm going to be reading some other stuff,
Mm.
but I'll still do some westerns and also something else that is. I did a video of this. If anybody's watching and hasn't seen the video or interested in it, is Ariane that she was in on the reading of Les Miserables in April, and she's I guess interested in reading more French stuff, and I suggested Lost Illusions by Honor de Balzac, and this is a new translation. I've read it twice before, but I'm interested in reading the new translation. It's not that big. It's 650 page or no 550 pages, so it's not too
That's how
bad.
you know all this kind of like the avid readers. 600 pages. That's nothing.
Well, yeah, well that's the thing. Like there is something that's out there. I saw Greg and another bibliophile reads is saying big books or something like that, and then I was looking at the description and going 400 and some pages, 500. Those aren't big books. Those
No.
are big books. 600 some. Well, okay. 700. Yeah, getting there. 800 plus. Yeah, that's a bigger book. You know.
I blame the fact that we read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy. They're almost always quite big, chunky things.
Yeah, unless you read the old ones, which I'll
Mm.
get to in a moment. But yeah, so we're definitely going to do that if anybody's interested. It's set in Paris during the 1820s. It's about a poet going from provincial, from sort of countryside, country town to the big town of Paris, and is dazzled by the lights of Paris. And he's also got asides, digressions like um, Victor Hugo does a little bit too. And then there's the sequel that we may or may not get to because this is the one I don't think I've ever read it. It's called Lost Souls, but it's under various names. The Penguin version, I think they call it Harlot High and Low. So, but I haven't read that one. But yeah, and getting to the science fiction ones, these are the short ones. Like there's three books that Scott Danielson and I are going to read in June. And I think Mark at Book Time with Elvis is joining too. I'm not sort of making it a big thing, but it's just like there's three books that are sort of historically centered, and we thought we'd read them. And the first one is Elsbreg de Camp's Lest Darkness Fall, and it's a historian time travels to Roman times, and he tries to sort of shorten or stop the Dark Ages. and it's a fun read. And then the other one, which I don't have here, it's in a hardcover upstairs, called The High Crusade, and it's during medieval times, high medieval times, um, and a spaceship lands with aliens. That's what I'll say. And it's got some funny parts. And then this one, uh, Bring the Jubilee by Ward Moore. It's a sort of alternate history of the American Civil War.
As in
So
it goes the other way.
I think so, yeah. If I remember right, I read it a long time ago. Pretty sure it's when the South has won. I think, but it's so long ago that I've read this one. This was the first one I read of all these, and this must have been sometime in the early '80s, early mid '80s. And I don't remember it much at all, but I remember really liking it. And the other two I remember more so because I probably read them in the late '80s, probably like 8 years later. But again, I was saying they're short. Like all these, like that's under 200 pages. Less Darkness Fall is just over 200 pages. So yeah, that's when you can sit down in an afternoon and read a science fiction book.
Mhm.
But you can't do that much anymore. Seems like, well, it doesn't seem too much then if that's what I'm reading. If that's all I'm reading in June. Well, there'll be something for my Patreon club, and then a Choice of Gods by Simak. That all seems doable. I think I must be missing something.
Well, aside from the fact that Dune's quite big.
But we're doing it in 3 parts, so it's like
Mm.
it's a day's reading each part, so it's a day out of the week. Um, for me, generally, I might even stretch it a little longer, but it's not too much. And then the Lost Illusions will be. It depends on how it goes. 2 3 days. Uh,
Or you'll hate the translator and you'll be like, nope.
oh yeah, that could be. That's the thing, and that's because the old translation I really liked, but it's probably getting on to 50 years old or more, and that's why I wanted to try this one because I've had a lot of luck with newer translators of like Les Miserables, the brand new, the newest one was so good. Count of Monte Cristo and the um, Zola. There's the ones, the Emile Zola that I've been reading that I've really, really liked the translators. So, but yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that's too much then. But I don't know why. Yeah, I have a block for what I'm reading in June. I keep forgetting stuff for some reason. I think I'm going to have to just write it down because otherwise I'll forget. I'll forget again. So,
Yeah, I've got a notebook that basically just score them off as I get through them all.
yeah, I did that last year, and I was keeping tabs because I'd have like every page. I'd list everything that I wanted to read, and most of the time I was doing okay in doing it all. But then I'd have to catch up the next month, and then when I got my eviction notice, everything just went to pot
Mm.
from there on. Um, but yeah, there's lots to read. That's the thing, and July is going to be big too because that's Rocket Summer, um, and also too I'm doing something else with Hugh Walpole. Now I don't think I'll be reading the whole series because the whole series is 4,350 pages approximately.
Oh, you could do that in a week.
It'll be a little different. I should be able to do it in a month, but it would probably. Well, actually, no. Let me see. How long would that take? Like even if you do 200 pages a day, how many days would that take?
2, 4, 6, 14, 28, 36. Probably about 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, so it's doable, but I want to do some science fiction in July as well. And there's the Rocket Summer, but I might do it Simac Summer instead. I haven't decided yet. But then, yeah, in August, then I've got the Mysteries of London to do. That's 2,300 pages, and then I've got that other book, um, the other. What's it called? Ruth the Betrayer with the earthworm guy, I think is
Mm.
the character. So that makes it like 3,300 pages. So that's actually very doable because that's only 100 pages a day for
It's
the
like every
whole.
time you mention that book, all I picture is Earthworm Jim, you know, from the computer game.
Oh, I don't know the game. Maybe that's where they got it from.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it's not that big. Like they're just 200 pages. So yeah, and even yeah, if you just do 100 pages a day, that's pretty doable for. I think it should be doable for most people. Like maybe if you're working full time, you may not have 3 hours in the evening or however long it takes you to read 100 pages. But you do like I used to do when and you do, I'm sure. Um, you read going to work if you're on the bus, you
Hmm.
read during breaks, and you wind up with an extra couple hours a day almost at sometimes as extra reading time that you don't even realize that you've done.
It's amazing how much you can get read when you just sort of like when you add them all up.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why like I but I can only I'm pretty well stuck at about 200 pages, maybe 250 a day for most things. Well, if it's something like Simac, I can probably do 300 or something that really works well with me. But and it's not because I don't have the time in the day. It's taking me long to read. It's I just only have so many hours that my brain is functional. Like I left
Mm.
you a message today that
Yeah.
my brain was not working that well, so I couldn't even read at that point. So
My response wasn't much better the first one because I got distracted with a colleague. I'm trying to bank up. I'm like, oh, better message him.
but yeah, I like it's the type of thing where it's like I know what the word I want to say is, but my COVID brain is not allowing me to say it. So
In
then
my
I
case, it's English in my head, but not when it comes out.
I'll do it in Scottish then.
That could be fun. I don't think it has a translate app though.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. This was sort of impromptu to do this. If there's anything else, well, like, do you have any other plans of doing other things for your channel before you start a full booktube onslaught?
Well, the only thing I've really thought about is I need to get a camera because obviously this is just the camera. It's on the laptop and it's not that great, really.
It's not bad. I think it'd probably be better when you record a video directly than
Mhm.
it is on here, I think. Or you maybe try it and just do a test recording and then compare the two. And I suspect it'll be better. But you should see some people doing some videos that you can't even see their face.
It's the folk that can do it, kind of like when they've got like a little cartoon version of themselves, and you're like, that's kind of cute.
Yeah, that yeah, I've seen that. Like there's some people that do that and they don't appear on the screen, or they just show the books that they're doing and they flip through and they're talking in the background, and that's a fair enough way to do it as well, or just have multiple pictures popping up of whatever,
Mhm.
of woodlands and whatever.
Or woodlands. I live in a city. Mind you, I'm on the outskirts of the city, so there's some woods at least.
Cityscapes. Take a whole bunch of pictures of your on your way to work and on
See,
the way
everybody
back
says that. I
home.
was like, I live in Aberdeen. This is not a pretty city. It's like most of the city is like solid granite, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so pretty." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe after it rains, and it's all nice and like sparkly." But it's like we're about as grey as you can get because it's not even the pretty granite; it's just grey.
Well, I'm sure it's quite nice around here, but I haven't got out yet. And it's like I look at the. I don't think it's raining this second, but it was raining earlier. It's like it's constantly raining here. Like
Mhm.
since I moved in here at the beginning of November, I bet there are fewer days than I can count on both hands. I'm sure that it hasn't rained in a 24-hour period. Like it's rained every single day. It's like there's moss growing on the concrete outside my back door here. It's just constant rain, and the gutters are full of dirt and everything too. So it's like it's running down into the walls. I think
Oh,
already.
we had some great rain this morning. Had the windows open so I could listen to it before I had to head out to work.
Well, it's weird. Like my front door has a sort of oval window in the center, like frosted over. I don't like those in front doors, but
Mm.
nothing I can do about it. But when it gets windy and thing, it's really noisy. You can hear the wind. I mean, uh, the the wet stuff that comes down.
The rain.
Thank you, rain. See, this is the problem that I have. The rain, when the rain hits it, it's just splatting at it. It's
Mm.
just so much noise. But that's a problem with me. And it's like I can't. I know what the word rain is, but I can't get it out. I have to explain what it is. Wet
Yeah.
stuff coming down. It's like a friend of mine in Canada too has it a little bit, and he says to his wife he has a problem with saying kettle or something like that. So he has to say, "Oh, the thing on the counter that you put water in that you boil." And it's like because for some reason he can't say kettle.
Oh, there's always words that some people struggle with.
Yeah, but this varies at different times, and it's just sometimes it's always there since the COVID, and then it just gets worse. It only gets so good, and then it gets worse. And like I've been saying all the time, I'm waiting. I'm really, really waiting till till it's accepted that you can have something like Tourette's, so that I can use that as an example to curse out people that or the council for not picking up my recycling and garbage. And then go, I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from. It's COVID Tourette's. I'm sorry about that.
Just tell them you're embracing your inner Scot. We're not afraid to curse at the council.
I don't know how I've kept so calm with them. I really don't know. And it's yeah, I don't even want to get to it. That's why I need this like escape in Simac world or Woodhouseian world or Paddington Bear.
Just become Paddington. Get yourself a little raincoat and your little wellies and your marmalade sandwich.
Yeah, I'm not a marmalade person.
No.
I don't like marmalade, but I'd rather have marmalade than what's that snot that people put on food?
Marmite.
Yeah, thank you.
God, I remember eating some of that thinking it was chocolate spread, not paying attention, slapped it on my sandwich and almost barfed.
Yeah, that was not a COVID thing. That is a conscious thing to call it snot.
Mm.
Let's be clear on that. I never had it before. I remember working at I used to work at NHS Direct in their call center. I was a health advisor, so I'd be around nurses, and nurses are known to have toast, and especially working nights. So they asked me if I'd like to try some Marmite on toast. I go, I've never had Marmite before. Yes, I would love to try it.
Ew.
And I had to spit it out. I had to spit it out. Oh
It's the
God.
only, I think it's probably the only food group I can think of where there is no like, it's fine. You either love it or you hate it. There is no middle ground.
Yeah, it is horrid. Like I say, like marmalade, I don't care for, but I can eat it.
Mhm.
That's the thing. I can if I needed to, I can eat it. But you put a gun to my head, you strap dynamite to my chest. I'm not gonna eat Marmite. It's like the being shot and blown up is much preferable, more preferable.
It's like even now at almost 40 years old, I still don't know the difference between jam and marmalade. Other than that marmalade is almost always orange and jam is strawberry or raspberry usually. It's like, is that the only difference or is there another difference?
Well, it should be different. Well,
Or would you not just call it orange jam? Or maybe they didn't like using it orange jam.
I don't know if there is a different way because there is a different because like in North America or in the United States you got jelly.
Mhm.
But jelly here I know means something different. But I used to like grape jam, but there'd be great. You've probably heard of grape jelly,
Mhm.
and what it means is the jelly part is it's like you you make a jam, and then there can be the extract or something, the liquid that jello it creates a jelly, but it doesn't have the fruit in it. This is just
Okay.
water. So that's how I always thought was the difference. And then the jam has the bits of the fruit in. But you can't get grape jam here.
Mhm.
Um, and we'll get to that in a moment. They are perfectly logical and sensible ideas. But anyway, yeah, and you can't get grape jam, so the closest that I can get to it is either black currant or blueberry. You know, but then they what do they call it? Consomme? Is it consomme or no? What's the other word they
Com
use?
oh, what the hell do they
Something
call it again?
like that. Yeah,
I think it's just compote or something like that.
yeah, something like that. Aaron said I got some strange ideas about desserts. He doesn't like them to be hot. I'm sure this is due to being no, it's just like pies, apple pie or something like that. I think it's atrocious to have them hot. I
I love
like
them hot.
hmm?
I love them hot. You get some nice melted ice cream with them too.
No ice cream on them. No. Just cold, and that's why I always hated like in Canada or somewhere. Like you'd want okay. I'll have a piece of apple pie. That's the pie that you got. I'll have it cold. I don't want you to heat it up. So it comes usually a frozen. It comes frozen because
Mhm.
what they do is they take it from the freezer and nuke it in the microwave, and it's like you can never get it cold. And it's like this thing about heating custard. Oh, gross.
Depends in the context.
I
It's like a
okay.
well, sometimes you don't want the custard hot, and sometimes you do. It just reminds me of school when you had the hot custard and the tiny little wee cake slices.
No, I
Of
just
course,
I just
custard was
like it
pink
cold.
at school.
I just like it cold. It's like apples and oranges and fruit like that. I like them right out of the fridge. I like them all right out of the fridge, and that's perfectly sensible to me.
I know, I love a hot dessert. Homemade rice pudding, especially my gran's, is the
See,
best.
rice pudding has to be cold.
Oh no, has to be hot.
No, I like it cold. I haven't had rice pudding though for decades and decades and decades and decades. But yeah, I can't think of any. Is there any dessert that I like hot?
Maybe
I
there's
don't.
something you just need to try. Like clootie dumplings, fine when it's still warm.
What is that?
Clootie dumpling, it's just like a it's kind of hard to describe. It kind of looks a bit like a Christmas pudding, but you steam the whole thing. It's basically boiled in kind of like a linen by sheet.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a uniquely Scottish thing. I think other people get them as well. I think they just have a different name for it. But when that's still warm, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, well, obviously I haven't tried it. Like I'm willing to try stuff, but I just can't think of one that I know that I've tried that I say is that I like hot. I can't think of anything. Like there's ones that aren't too bad. Like people have heated up the Christmas pies,
Mhm.
the mince pies. Okay, but I do prefer them, maybe not out of the fridge, but just,
I like
out of
room
the package.
temperature. Just get the Kipling's packs and you'll be set.
Yeah, that's usually. But the one thing they don't have here that I like in Canada, and I think it is kind of a uniquely Canada thing, it's called butter tarts.
Oh, okay.
It's like a syrupy. It's like it's the shape of the Kipling little ones, like the pastry part, but
Mhm.
it's got a syrupy type, but really thick. It's like and with raisins in.
Okay.
And I've never seen that here. Let's see, the pink custards. Pink custard?
Oh, it was great. It was a school thing. It was what all the schools made for your lunch break.
The turkey Twizzler. What's a turkey Twizzler?
That we didn't have in my school, so I'm not too sure. I'm guessing a bit like turkey, maybe like strips or something.
Probably put in batter and deep fried.
Well, if it was in Scotland, most definitely.
I
There's
keep
nothing we
saying,
won't fry.
well, that's what I mean. That's like once I heard that Mars bars were done like that, and I said, and people doing, chunks of butter, putting in batter and deep frying that. And it's like, I've got to start a little thing and taking dog turds and doing that, and I'll make $1 billion or pounds.
I think one of the best things with deep fries, you get a slice of pizza, cover it in batter, and deep fry that. It's absolutely amazing.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah, you will do anything.
But one of our local chippers, it's literally you can take any chocolate bar you want to them. So it's like they don't always stock them in the chipper, but you can bring them anything you want, and they'll batter it and fry it for you.
I I just can't understand. Okay, I can understand, maybe the pizza and stuff like this, but chocolate deep fry like that just does not compute for me. It just does not work. I just
And yeah,
don't
it
understand it.
tastes so good.
How? How?
Who
Because
knows?
they're two different things. It's just like I suppose I would try it, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. It's like I ordered here one time from the chippy here, and it was like, well, I ordered. It said roast chicken. So then they called me up and says, well, the guy didn't bring in, like, we don't have any chicken, stuff like this, you know. And so I said, well, okay, what else? And then it was like, oh, they have a hamburger. So I figured, okay, well, I'll get a hamburger. And when it comes, they fucking deep fried the hamburger, the patty. They dipped it in batter, and I'm going, that's not a hamburger.
Well, they didn't tell you that's what they do.
No. And then I called back one time and said, okay, well, I'd like a roast chicken. They said, well, they still don't have it. And then I sort of thought, wait a minute, the experience of the burger. So I said, okay, so is it
Yeah, it's
actually
batter
roast
too.
chicken? It's battered, it's fried. So I said it's not roast chicken then. Oh, it's a roast chicken.
Yeah.
Well,
Our
no,
chipper, our chipper does two of them, so they'll do like you can either have half a chicken, and again it's battered and then fried, or you get like a quarter of the chicken. So they've got like different sizes depending on how much of the chicken you want.
but it's not roast chicken.
It was roasted at one point.
Okay, if that's what they're doing, yeah, I'm just
Yeah, because the pizzas are cooked first as well. Same with the burgers. Everything gets cooked first and then it gets deep fried.
oh, I don't know. There's just things that I won't try. Like I just don't know what they'll be doing. Like it's like are they gonna do like batter kidneys and deep fry them or intestines and you know
Probably.
God.
Probably disguise them as like onion rings or something, or calamari.
Yeah, what is it? Bull's testicles deep fried. Probably I wouldn't have to do that.
There's
Not sure
probably a
why.
chipper out there that does it.
Yeah, I don't know. But that even though like that's kind of making me hungry, even though that makes me disgusted. Haggis deep fried.
Oh my god, that's lovely.
Actually, there is deep fried
Yeah, well,
haggis.
it's a haggis pudding, so it's like you know how you get like a black pudding, so they're
Yeah.
about this sort of size, and they do the same with haggis. So it's basically basically a tiny little haggis, and then they basically wrap it in butter and batter, and then fry it.
Uh,
That's really nice because it's not as dry as normal black normal haggis is, so it tends to be a lot easier for some people to eat. White
I
pudding's dry as hell though. I love it.
I've never tried haggis. Blood pudding I like, strangely. And when I've told people what it is, they're ready to vomit, you know.
Mm. And
And
yet
I
you feed
go,
it to them without telling them what it is, and they all love. Most people like it.
yeah, and it's like, to me it's fine. Like I wouldn't eat it. Like I wouldn't slice it off the thing and just sit there and eat it. But
Mm.
for breakfast,
Oh, it's great.
it's nice. It's nice, but yeah, haggis I wouldn't mind trying. Because of the stuff. It's not as disgusting as it's made out to be. I don't think.
No, and if you get the right one, because some of them are quite mild, whereas if you get like proper haggis, they've got like a lot of pepper in them, so they've got a nice kick to them.
Oh, that'd be
You're like,
nice.
oh, it's
Yeah.
great.
Well, the problem is now since I've had the COVID, spices are sweet,
A sweet haggis. That sounds interesting.
and that's really strange. When I tried one time an Indian takeaway, and I asked for whatever it was, a vindaloo or whatever, and I didn't realize that I was tasting, like it was disgusting because
Mm.
all I tasted was sweetness. I thought they screwed up, but no, I found out later that it's my taste buds. Nothing's the same. Like not most things I do not taste the same or does not taste the same.
Mhm.
There's a few things. Apple juice tasted the same right from the beginning, and citrusy stuff I can taste a citrusy taste. Sweetness is sweet, salty I can sort of take. Garlic I can still taste, like from what I remember. Uh, Glenfiddich single malt tastes the same.
You don't mess with whiskey.
Um, but almost everything else has a different taste. Like there's one thing that I used to drink a lot of was Pepsi, and I loved Pepsi.
Mhm.
But as of 2021, I hadn't had any, and I was curious. I bought a bottle with delivery stuff. I bought some Pepsi. It's horrible now because it's not even close. I can't stand the taste of Pepsi now, and I think Coke will be the same because
Probably.
it's not. I'm not tasting it the way it used to be, and there's no way I could get used to that taste.
It could also just be that maybe you don't like it anymore. I remember drinking some Pepsi thinking, "Oh, this will be fun." And I was like, Pepsi tastes funky." And it was the damn Pepsi cherry. I was like, "Well,
Yeah,
that explains why it doesn't taste right."
yeah, no, that stuff was horrible. Tried haggis. Admittedly, it was from a tin. Okay,
I
I guess
will
we
not judge.
could try that. What is it? Is it from Norway or whatever? That Strombro or something? A fish that's in a tin, and it's rotted so much that it bulges the tin. And you're not. I think legally you cannot open that tin indoors
Wow.
because it stinks so much. Like it stinks.
It's become a biohazard. Fastest way to clear your living room.
Oh God. But then again, like there's cheeses like that, like people like Limburger cheese. I kind of like. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't know what it would taste like now. Like there's still cheese. See, cheese to me anymore, I can't distinguish too much. I can taste whether it's a mature cheese or weak cheese, and that's about it. I can't taste the differences anymore. And it hasn't. It's don't my taste buds haven't. They've come back a little bit, but not much at all. It's weird, and it's um the one like I had some physiotherapist here, and he says, "Oh, well, somebody that he knew had the same thing, and he ate a couple raw onions, and it worked. He got his taste buds back. So I had some here, and I thought, oh yeah, sure, I'll try it because I don't mind eating raw onions. No, doesn't do anything. Didn't do anything. And
Oh,
I made
I
a
bet you
joke to
had
him.
some pleasant farts for a while.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I'll try not to be like Marilyn Margolis. I said, because she eats onions, but she farts on TV as well.
I love her.
What's it? Marion.
Marion, yeah. Or
Yeah, Marion.
Miriam, sorry, Miriam.
Marion.
Margulies.
Yeah, and yeah, because she'll sit there and fart on interviews.
It was just when she was on Graham Norton and she was going on about creaming her knickers, and you could see the other guests going, "Oh," because they're all about a third her age or something like that. And he was like, "Yeah, she doesn't care what she says anymore."
No, she dubs porn into English. I think she porn.
Oh God, I hope so. She's funny.
It's always the funny when she talks about her being at Oxford or something like that. Before she knew, I guess that she was actually lesbian and
Mhm.
picking up guys and stuff like this. And it just just and this is not today, right? This is when she was like 30 or 40 years ago, where she was younger, and she just goes up to somebody and says, "Do you want me to?" Like this. Oh God. There's I can't believe that they bring her on live television, because on especially at
I
breakfast.
wish they'd bring her on more often.
Oh, I know. I wish they would, but I just can't believe, because you're never gonna know what she's gonna say. You
It
never
was like
know.
she recently did a documentary show with Alan Cummins, and it was like the two of them were just brilliant together.
She did something that I seen some shorts of, and they were talking about words, the English language, like swear words and stuff like that, and like they're exchanging what their favorite curse words and swear words were. So it was pretty clear what I like. Didn't even have to think about what hers is going to be. What hers are going to be. And it was like, see you next week, or
Yeah,
see you next Tuesday. Sorry.
yeah. It's a common one with Scots as well. And we don't even really mean it as an insult 9 times out of 10. We use it for people you love, people you hate. It's all about context. It's about how it's said, not so much the fact that it's said. I think the Australians are the same. They use the word quite a lot. It's fun because anytime you're around anyone else, they get so offended by the word. I'm like, it's only a word.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oliver Reed was a bit
Could you
there.
imagine the two of them together? Some of his videos came when you watch them back, you think, oh, it's brilliant.
Well, I always love it. Occasionally, I go through these things and watch his, or Richard Harris, or Peter O'Toole, talking about their days. Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris, and it just Peter O'Toole actually wrote a couple. I don't. Did he ever finish the third one? Autobiography, and they're really well written. But Richard Harris, I don't think ever got around to writing anything, and he should have. I know people have written about him, but
Oh, one of my favourite Peter O'Toole's films is probably one of his worst films. King High Spirits. Love that
oh,
film.
okay,
It's just so cheesy. It's
yeah,
so much
I think
fun.
I think I had seen that one. The one I kind of like. Oh, what's the one where he inherits the? Oh, what's the one? Aaron should be able to help me out here. He inherits the money, and he thinks he's Jesus, and um, there's a scene of him, standing up on a cross, like up above the thing, and it's oh, what's the name of that one? It's so bizarre, but it's so great. Um,
It's like a different version of Monty Python.
yeah, I can't remember the name of it now, but
Let's see.
uh,
Peter O'Toole.
yeah, it's like it's absolutely bizarre, like the whole storyline and his character. Uh, Bugs me when I can't think of these things.
There's one that looks like he looks a bit like he's jumping off a crosscut. The ruling class.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, you got it at the same time as
Oh,
Aaron.
Aaron got it too.
Yeah, ruling class. Yeah, that is fabulous. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. Uh, yeah, and well, all this stuff is good. And Richard Harris, some of his stuff, yeah. But yeah, when they get those stories together, this hilarious. Like Richard Harris, like I forget where now. I think he was talking about that he went on a drinking binge and he wound up because the pubs were closing or they were closing early. So and then he found out that if he got on the train, he could get booze on the train. So he wound up in somewhere like Manchester or something like that, and and he's outside causing trouble or something like this, and the woman opens her window of her apartment or flat and screams at him and stuff, and he winds up shacking up with her for like a week or two, and drunk all the time, and then something she kicked him out or something like this, and he got a blanket and he made a coat out of her blanket, and he still had that coat he talked about. Just absolutely bizarre stories. Uh, and then
The
also, I
joys
guess,
of growing up in a non-digital age. You can get away with it all. There's no evidence.
and also too, there's the stories with Richard Burton, I think, as well. That the ones that they did, they're just fabulous to listen to these stories. Uh, and yeah, you wouldn't, yeah, it'd be plastered all over the social media now, and they'd be shamed for doing it.
Yeah,
And for
probably. And
them,
they'd probably still be thinking, "Yeah,
well, like for that time and for them, it's like accolades. Like the bigger piss up they could do, the better.
who's got the craziest story?"
Yeah, it's hilarious. Anyway, I think well, we've stretched this out for 1 hour and 15 minutes. If there's any other questions, there's still a few people here. Once we started talking about swear words, we seemed to go up in a few numbers, which is usual.
Maybe they're hoping we'd use some.
Well, I don't want to get taken off, but I want it to be taking off. That's what I should say. I still haven't figured that. Oh, now let's see. Now we're getting a couple more people in looking in. Anyway, thanks everybody for stopping by, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're back next. Uh,
That'd be the second.
yeah, it'll be second. I can't remember when I figured that we're going to be doing the way station one. I think it's the week. Is it the week after that?
I can't remember. Did I get a notification for that already?
No. Oh, I can't. There's something. I don't know why my brain is just because we couldn't do it on the second. I don't think. No, we can't do it the second. I have to write this down. I've completely forgot. But anyway, I'll be doing a video of saying when that's going to be. Um, and I think it's going to be a Sunday. Um, it might actually be the 14th or whatever it is, the weekend after. Uh, Aaron is saying his favorite Peter O'Toole story was when he went to the theater drunk and only to remember halfway through that he was in it, and it was about time for him to come on.
And he probably still nailed the performance.
There's some stories. Oh yeah, there was something that he was doing. He was doing a play, and there was a heckler in the audience, and it was Richard Harris that was heckling him. But I can't remember what the story was that he was wearing a nun's outfit, or it was Peter O'Toole that went to wearing a nun's outfit to when Richard Harris was doing his singing tour, and or they both were wearing nuns' habits. I can't remember, but it's so bizarre.
Oh, I love when celebrity friendships are so much to get the fake feuds. Like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. They prank each other quite a lot. I mean,
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds pranks a lot of people, though. He's really funny.
Anyway, thanks everybody. I will get this sorted for the way station video. I don't know why it slipped my mind again, because I thought I had it down of when we're going to do it, but I can't remember now. So, but I will be doing a little video before the end of the week, I think, on that and a few other things. So, and if you haven't joined in yet for Dune in June, why haven't you? Bye, everybody.